I want to talk to you today about staying the course in business. There's many types of businesses out there. I happen to be in the financial services and investment business, insurance, but there's many types of businesses. There's the beauty business, there's the contracting business, there is professional services like accountants and attorneys. And all those different fields have a particular skill set. The skill set, we learn how to be a financial planner. We learn how to do hair. We learn how to do plumbing and electrical work. And we learn how to do the skills. But the challenge is that once you want to connect that passion or that strong interest into a business, that's where the challenges can come. Because when you begin to say, now I'm in the business of financial planning, or I'm in the business of beauty, or I'm in the business of accounting, it's that business of that really can bring a struggle. And in many cases, it will stop people from being able to stay the course in turning what would either be considered a strong interest or a passion into a business, because you have to couple the two. So I want to spend a little time today just talking about a few things that I believe that's helped me and helped many others in staying the course in the business of. And I'll let you fill out what comes after the business of. So we're going to call this staying the course. First thing that we have to understand is that the business is a journey. It's not a trip to grandma's house. What I mean by that is when my two oldest daughters now were very young, we only lived about 20 minutes from grandma's house. And every Sunday afternoon, we would go to grandma's house. And it was exciting time for my daughters. They loved to go to grandma's house. And they knew the road. They knew every landmark. I would hear them say, "Daddy, there comes the big tree." And "Daddy, here comes the big curve." "Oh, Daddy, here comes the haunted house." "Oh, Daddy, there's the big blue bridge." "Oh, Daddy, there's the McDonald's sign." And then right behind the McDonald's was grandma's house. And they knew that now they were at the place where they were going to find a lot of love, a lot of food, and a lot of fun. But it was a road that they knew every landmark on because it was a road that they were very familiar with. And I think, and I include myself in this, that that's something that we all want. We want the road to be familiar. We want the road to be comfortable. But the challenge with familiarity or comfortability is the fact that it robs us of the necessary struggles to build a business. So the first thing you have to understand that business is a journey. I'm reminded of the Cecropia Moth. I read a story several years ago where they were doing research on this moth, and they were studying from the point that from a caterpillar to the cocoon, and they actually had an X-ray camera that they could see inside the cocoon. And they were studying the struggle, in many cases very violent struggle, that it took the moth to break out of this cocoon. Well, one time a researcher decided to cut the cocoon and free the moth. Well, what happened was the moth was free and it came out and it spread its wings, only to soon not be able to fly and then soon after die. Why? Because the researcher had robbed it of the necessary struggle to put the strength in the wings that it needed to become the beautiful creature that it was intended to be. So the struggle is very important. FDR quoted, "Still waters does not make a skilled sailor." We require choppy waters. We require those things to build us up, to be able to allow us to learn how to make decisions and become leaders and all the necessary things that these challenges and setbacks and struggles of being in the business of will bring. So the first thing I think we need to do is we need to embrace the journey. Because what the journey will do is that it will allow you then to start to enjoy and even see who you are becoming in the midst of that. How the struggles are changing you and transforming you in these necessary areas. So that would be something that you would want to embrace. So embracing the journey and then getting prepared. And being prepared really means being intentional. Being intentional with your preparation. Because what you have to understand is that we don't do things to become successful. We become successful by attracting success through the struggles. All of the things that we do just adds more Velcro to us that then allows over time more and more success to stick to us. So being intentional with your preparation is very, very important, and embracing the journey. Embracing means being very intentional on where you're putting your efforts in your preparation. The other thing I want to talk about is talent. And I think this, again, can be a big misconception for many people. Talent could be, for some, they could look at people around them and say, wow, they're just very talented, they have all this talent, I'll never be able to be who they are. So that can be one misconception. Or you could be someone who has a lot of natural talent and they just don't feel like you need to put in any additional effort. You're trying to do things based on some natural talent, only to realize this talent's not enough. So you have to be careful when it comes to, you can look at it wrong in a couple different ways. So the formula that I like to use is talent plus effort will equal certain skills, and then it's the skills plus the effort that will lead to success. You have to build skills and then apply the effort. You can't rely on talent alone. So you have to invest in long-term learning. I've been doing the business that I'm in for 35 years, and I read more now, study more now than I ever have, because change is coming faster and faster, and things are, we have to approach things differently. So one of the keys to being a successful business person is to embrace the fact that you will have to be a lifelong learner. You're always going to be in the education process. Now there's three areas that I think that you should have a particular focus in your learning and your skills. The first one is in persuasion and influence. Because no matter what your business is, if you're certainly in the type of business that you're trying to attract customers or attract clients to your business, well, you have to be persuasive. In some cases, you have to be a good salesperson. In others, you just need to be very competent, but you need to be very persuasive. You need to have influence, so you can influence people to either do business with you, or if you have a team and employees, you have to influence people to follow you, to say that, hey, this is the direction we're going in, and you have to build the skill set necessary to be able to bring people with you in an influential way, in a persuasive way. So persuasion and influence is very important. The second area is just business. You need to learn business skills. Now, business skills can be anywhere from doing a business plan to setting goals to having vision to running budgets. Certainly some of those things can be delegated to others and hired away, but still there's a component of business that you need to have skills at as a business person. It could be negotiating, contracts, rent contracts, technology contracts. There's a lot of things that you need to build your skills at in regards to business. And then the third area, which again I think is the most important area of all, really, is leadership. You have to invest and become a leader and build your leadership skills, because there's a famous leadership author out there, John Maxwell, who said, everything rises and falls on leadership. So, you have to become a good leader to lead people, to lead processes, to set the bar. So spending time building your leadership skills is critical. So the next thing I want to talk about is why people fail. Matter of fact, most people don't fail. They just simply quit too soon. And I like to use the illustration of the magic penny. Now with the magic penny, some of you maybe have seen this. It's where you take 1 penny and you double it every day. Like 1 penny the first day, 2 cents, 4 cents, 8 cents. And you do that out all the way for 31 days. How much money do you have? Well, I'm not going to make you guess. You can look at the 31-day calendar and see that you will have accumulated over $10 million. But that's not really the number I want you to focus on. What I want you to focus on are the numbers, say around year or day 10 or day 15. And the reason why I want you to focus on that is because, again, you can see that you can spend time in your business quite a long time and only feel like you've had incremental growth. And that's where a lot of people can get stumbled up. They invest time, they invest money, they're really pouring back in the business only to see that they're making very incremental growth. And they finally wake up one day and say, boy, this is just not working, and they quit. In many cases, you quit just when things were ready to start to turn, because that incremental growth really means that you've been investing, you've been building, you've been setting a foundation under your business, preparing it and preparing you for a more compounding effect in your business, in your revenue. So I know in our business, we set a business income goal when we started the business, and it took us 10 years to hit that number. So it was very incremental, the growth in our business. But it only took us 3 more years to double that. So because again, took us that 10 years to build staff and the necessary infrastructure in order to then promote much more rapid growth. So I just want to encourage you that you don't lose sight of the fact that you have to make those incremental investments over time and stay the course, because the compounding effect will work in your favor if you do. Now there's 2 other things I want to talk about that I think are very important. One is systems and one is habits. One of the things I see in a lot of businesses is that people, for the most part, don't really have a system. They don't know how their business is going to really operate day in and day out. And I'm not talking about, things like, well, if you own a hair salon, yeah, people are going to come in, they're going to get their hair done. But there's a lot of systems that have to go into place to make that customer experience really what it needs to be, for not only for that customer to come back, but also then to give quality referrals and bring other people in with them. So building systems in your business, if you're in sales, building prospecting systems and pipeline management systems and how you connect with clients. All these things need to be built. It takes time, and certainly takes a lot of thought and energy. But ultimately what you want is you want the system to run your business. Remember, people don't run businesses, systems do. So if you build your system and take the time to build a system, and then you, as the business owner and your team, run the system, and then let the system run your business. The second thing is habit. Understanding what's the necessary habits do I need to have as a leader, as a business person, to be successful. Again, some of those habits could simply mean being very consistent with who you are, making sure that people see you in the proper light, whether you're working in your business or you're working outside the business in recreation or civic things that you might be participating in. Have the habit of being very consistent. Just understand what are habits that I need to do day in and day out. Because habits, quite frankly, is brings discipline. And that is a very important part, of the business model, is to be a very disciplined person in your life. So figure out what habits you need to do. And again, they don't have to be big things. It can be very small steps. But the important thing is to understand what you need to do regarding building habits, changing habits. Start small and then build from there. Because one of the things you have to remember is that you can set goals for your business, but we never rise to our goals. We'll always fall to the systems we built and the habits we formed. So having a good system and good habits will certainly put you in the best position to stay the course. So the last thing I want to talk about is having a strong why. A strong why is imperative for you to have for your business, because without that strong why, when the headwinds come, which they will, you're going to be more susceptible of folding it up and quitting than if you can look at that why and say, no, this is why I'm doing this. This is the why, whether it be your family, whether it be a financial, whatever it is, you look at that, and then that will be the fuel to continue on. I like using the iceberg as an illustration. Some of you may know that when you look at an iceberg in the water, that you're really only seeing 10% of the iceberg. 90% of that iceberg is underwater. And I think that gives a good illustration, because that 10% that you see will represent the how you do your business. The 90% that you don't see that's under the water is your why. And so when the headwinds come, which they will, when the challenges, the adversity, the setbacks hit you in your business, the how, that 10%, will be very ineffective in plowing through that. But that why, that 90%, is what will get you through those challenging times. Well, I hope this has been helpful to you. Again, be prepared, embrace the journey, have a strong why, and you'll increase your odds dramatically of staying the course.